Good morning, Dallas. It's time to wake up and get wealthy. I'm Terry Ahrens, Group Fitness and Wellness Director with the Aaron Family JCC, and we are here today to learn a little bit about how Pofi wears the blue, and we are here with Corporal Peters and his Belgian Malinois, Pofi. So thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so much.
And Pofi, yeah, rock on. I'm so excited to have the two of you on the set today for this. So, I know that you guys do so much for the community, and I think it's going to be really fun to just learn, what goes on behind the scenes and how this all, lays out.
Right.
Yeah. So first of all, Corporal Peters, tell us a little bit about the story behind, how you and Pofi became, I guess, companions and colleagues.
So
how does that work?
So what happened? So when I got on the department, I'll be going on 14 years with the police department. So when I came on, I always knew I wanted to be a K-9 officer. So when I finally promoted to a corporal back in 2021, the opportunity came to apply to be in the K-9 unit. But the thing is, you just can't just apply. You have to have things set. So you have to live within 30 miles of the city.
Okay.
You have to have a 6-foot fence. And you have to own a house. So and it has to be, make sure that you have a secure area to house the dog, because due to it being a police dog. So that was something that I was able to set up throughout my years. And when opportunity came, I applied. And when I applied, Pofi, he was on the streets for 1 year. His original handler promoted to sergeant. So when I came over, they say Pofi already knew the job.
Oh, wow.
And I was learning the job. So it was like...
So is Pofi training you?
He was training me. So, but it's all about bonding. During the process of our training, he did hurt his toe. So he did have to get his toe amputated. So that kind of paused on our training. But I will say that we was able to get closer because I was able to take care of him through that whole process.
Oh, yeah.
So
on the recovery
part. But after that, it was like when we got back to training, it was like, we were one, because I got the bond with him and I took care of him. It's almost like he was like, all right, I trust you. You took care of me. You fed me when I was going through this pain. And then once we got back on training, it was just like we were rocking on, and he didn't forget his skills.
Oh, wow. And I think that is so incredible that you had this goal well in advance, that you wanted to be part of the K-9 team. And you did all the steps, the requirements, a little bit at a time. You bought the house, got the fence.
I told my wife, I said, I don't care where we live at. We just got to be 30 miles inside within the city, 30 miles within the outside of where City Hall is. So that's what we did. So that was always my goal to become being K-9, and it's a lot of work. Like, it's not easy. Like you wouldn't know what. You wouldn't know the things that you have to do to go through the training with the dog. I was fortunate that he already knew his job, and I just had to basically learn his ways.
Wow. Well, that's something that I think we're going to discuss a little bit on, and just what some of that backstory is on the training element. But so for you guys are with the Dallas PD. And was kind of curious as to, does the Dallas PD select dogs from a shelter, adopt them from a shelter, or is there a particular breeder? Is there only one breeder? How does that work?
So most of our dogs, it's Southern Coast, and they breed. They basically they go hand select. They have somebody over in Hungary, and they hand select these dogs. They have people that they trust. The dogs, they know what type of dogs they're looking for, and then they come overseas to the Florida location where they basically they get all their dogs. You can get them green, which green is the dog has no training, no training, and basically, but the dog knows that he has a go factor to it. Like he has the energy. He wants to learn to work. So, but then you can also get them to where they come with training, where they can come with narcotics, building searching, area searching, and tracking, and they can come to you pre-trained. But we get our dogs at Southern Coast in Florida, and and the good thing about it is because you have a relationship with the company, and they basically, if anything happens to the dog, or if the dog is not doing something, you're able to send them back, and they can help you fix them. And our trainers that are part of our unit, that's where they went to learn how to they get their certification to be a trainer, is how to train the dogs.
So is it like all of the K-9 units?
It's
use this one breeder?
No, not all of them, but I know Houston uses them. We use them, and it's a plethora of K-9 units around the United States that go to Southern Coast.
Oh, okay.
So they're known. And then the past trainer before he retired, that's where he would go get the dogs. So they would always go to Florida and get the dogs.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's really interesting. Yeah. I mean, that there's like this one key breeder, and then
and this breeders all over. It's just that's the one that they have
the whole Dallas or Texas.
Just Dallas. They have a relationship with, and I know Houston gets their dogs from there also.
Okay. So what else? Like, I mean, as far as what qualifies Pofi to make it to the next round or whatever, what qualifies any kind of dog that comes from this breeder?
So when they're going to go, I just know a few things. When they're looking at dogs, they're trying to see if they're going to be timid or they're scared. They put them through an apprehension exercise with a guy in a bite suit to see if he's just the demeanor of it. Like if the dog is going to just automatically go apprehend what would be suspect with someone in a bite suit if they stay on it. And you're trying to see if the dog is going to have some obedience and basically the drive to see if the dog's going to drive. Like if he's going to want to work. Like when we play with his Kong, his toy, he loves his Kong. So some dogs have a toy drive and some have a food drive.
Right, exactly.
So, and then they just looking to see, oh yeah, this dog is going to be good. He wants to work. Like he's willing to work and it has a lot of energy. And then some dogs, you try to find that middle ground, because the thing is, if you give a high strung dog to someone that's smaller that can't handle the dog, then that'd be a problem. So not only are the trainers for the unit looking at the dog, but they looking at who am I pairing this dog up with.
Right, because you two need to be.
It needs to be the right size. The height is even the thing too.
Oh wow!
Yep, the height, how tall the dog is, and if he's short, and it's everything.
Energy
levels, and just how and age too. It's just like how if I got a 20-year-old handler compared to a 30, 40-year-old handler, then it's you want a mild mannered dog, because this one of our handlers, Cope, he said his dog he has now, Rocky was way different from his first dog. Like he had a lot of energy, he had to put in a lot of work, like a lot of work. So because you got to put the dogs through reps, and so you got to have the energy, and you got to be able to handle the dog. Right. Because if he's pulling me and I can't handle him, then that's not a good thing.
Exactly. Yeah. Yes, I totally understand that. I have an Australian Shepherd, and he has a lot of energy. And he's food motivated, but then sometimes I think he's also just toy motivated. I can never figure it out. But he kind of does a little of both. So I totally get that I need to be the one, or I try to be the one in charge, but sometimes it just doesn't work out that way. Does that ever happen with you two?
No, we don't have a problem. I mean, he get a little hard headed sometimes, but but that's what the thing is if he was always perfect, like I gotta try to figure out things that he's gonna do to make him to let him mess up, so I can correct it. Because if we don't do some training, I'm trying to get him through different things where he doesn't mess up, then it's kind of like, we don't have we can't get better, because you gotta train. So
yeah, that makes perfect sense. Okay, well, that was really great information, and I loved it. So stay tuned, there's more. Thanks for staying tuned, and we are back now with Pofi and Corporal Peters. So now we're going to discuss a little bit about training. And so I'm kind of curious. Once somebody gets the pup, an officer gets the pup, or in your case, Pofi was already 1 year trained. Where do you go from there with training so that you two bond? Like, are there various tasks that are set aside for the two of you? Is there testing? How does that work?
So every year we have to go through a certification. So when I got on, I came with Pofi, even though he was trained, but his certification was coming up. And what the dogs are certified in is in narcotics, and they're certified in it's some different apprehension exercises, tracking, which is they're able to track a suspect. Building searches is where we go in, and I tell him to search the building, and when he gets up to a door, if the suspect is there, he sniffs. If he smells the human odor, he alerts by barking and sitting. And also he's trained in article search, where if I told you if you dropped a cell phone in the field or a weapon or something that needs to be found, I could tell him to find the article. When he find it, he'll go down to a down and let me know that he found it. So we got article search, building search, tracking. Area search is also one of them. That's where I don't know. We know a suspect is in this area. I don't know which way he went. So that means I'm just letting him just search the area, and we do ours. We'll put a suspect in the vehicle, and while he's going through like a parking lot, he's able to find the sit cone and actually locate the vehicle that the suspect is in. And he's trained, and his narcotics is in marijuana, heroin, meth, cocaine, and ecstasy.
Okay.
Yep.
So, is most of these, like, as far as if you give Pofi a task, is it a verbal command?
It is a verbal command.
And so each one of those tasks that you just mentioned has different commands.
Yeah, he has different commands for each one of those tasks. So he knows what he's doing. Yeah.
So are not just Pofi, but most of the dogs able to be like multitaskers like that, and they're trained in several different types of tasks, or is there some dogs that are just only trained for one specific?
Okay, yeah. So with the Dallas Police Department, we have our patrol dog, which is what Pofi is. He's trained in narcotics and patrol. So we got the patrol side and the narcotics side. Then we also have our bomb dogs. And then our narcotics unit, they actually have their own narcotics dogs.
I see.
So, but the dual purpose dogs are on the patrol side in my unit.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you mentioned about certification. So is that a yearly thing?
That is a yearly thing. Yes. And we actually certify. We go certify tonight.
Oh my gosh.
So we have a certification.
Good luck.
Yeah, we have a certification tonight. So that's what it's a yearly certification.
Okay. And I guess it's like pass or fail, right, on certain tasks. Is it pretty rigorous?
So we have we got our recall portion. So you have a suspect that's about 20 feet out. I'm giving the vertical commands like, hey, suspect, let me see your hands. And they start running. I have to send Pofi to go get him. But it's a line that he has to get to. And I have to call him back to a heel, stop him in mid stride. And he has to come back to me. And if he doesn't, I fail. And then after that,
that's some serious recall.
Yeah, right. It is. It's and that's one thing that the bonding helps also, because if he's in there doing whatever, and if he doesn't come back to me just him playing out in the field, then I have a problem. But sending him out on a apprehension, he doesn't come back, because if the suspect put their hands up, that's it. I have to call him back. And
I see.
And then after that, we bring the decoy up. We call we call them decoys in the suit. So we bring the decoy up, and then I send him on the apprehension. So on the apprehension, he gets on. Then I have to verbal call him off the apprehension. And he has to come back to me, and he can't rebite or do anything. Then after that, I put him in a down and tell him to stay. And then I have to go pat down the suspect, the decoy, and then come back to him. And then after that, I have to go up back to the suspect, and then the suspect pushes me. And then the dog has to respond to it. And then I I have to get him off the apprehension. And
well,
yeah, so that's probably that's the one where it's because the dog is doing his job, but that's where obedience is an important part of all of this, which there is an obedience portion.
yes.
So
let me ask you, that's a lot of moving parts. I mean, a lot of steps there for the whole task to happen. So what if you do, I'm just making this up, let's say there were 7 tests and 6 out of 7 are successful.
You fail the whole test.
You fail. So do you get to do it again, or how does that work?
Then what happens is, if you'll go back through remediation, probably about a month, and we'll go back to training for a month with our unit trainer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't want to know what that is. That's why
I'm just asking.
No, but that's why, and we're required.
That's not gonna happen to you guys.
Yeah,
no
we're
way.
required to train 20, just a minimum of 20 hours every month. So we do some type of training every day, about an hour during our shift.
Yes, that I so agree with. Like, there should be hands-on daily training.
Oh yeah.
Even, I mean, whether it's a dog that wears the blue or it's just a regular family dog. I mean, that is so important to keep the dog obedient and to keep the dog, understanding that you're in charge.
And since we talk with a health segment, you have to keep the dogs active. Like before our unit training, we go on like a mile walk that eventually will come up and be a mile run with the dogs, and then we'll go into our training because I done been on tracks looking for suspects where we've been tracking for about 20-30 minutes. So I can't. The thing is I can't let him just be stagnant because he has to work on his stamina just like I have to work on my stamina.
And I love that.
Yes.
I love that you also, Pofi, you have to stay in shape. I love that as a fitness director, wellness director. Okay, well, that was really good information, and I hope it's such valuable and such interesting insights. Yes. Okay, so just hang in there, guys. We got another part coming. Hello, we're back with Officer Peters and Pofi, and we're going to talk a little bit about care and retirement. So, and also, let's start here. I'm walking down the street, and I am a huge dog lover, and I see the two of you guys out on the sidewalk. Is it okay for me to just come up and pet? I'm sure this happens all the time.
Yeah, that would.
Or a little kid gets excited and doesn't ask, hey, the proper thing is, hey, can I pet your dog?
Right.
What happens? Like, how does this go down?
So with a police dog, we always say they are not pets. They are working dogs, and that's the reason why when they're at our homes, we have a kennel. We keep them locked up. Because when they come out, they're in work mode. It's not. I mean, it's everything that we do, even if it's playing. Everything is it has to do with a task, which it has to do with them working. So, and they also, they come attached to us. So, someone coming up to us, they might think it's a threat. So, no, you do not go up to a police dog and pet them. And if you see them working, like outside on the track or anything, you don't approach him because he's actively working, which means that he has been given a command to find the suspect, but also too, it also depends. And then with us, that's what we have to be. We have to be aware of our surroundings. If I know if I'm in a more populated area, then I need to make sure like I'm keeping them close on a tight leash, because people they do come up and think they can just pet them, but no, do not come up to her, because the dog, they have a job, and they also know I need to protect my handler. So
yes. Well, that carries even a little further. I mean, just with any dog and their owner out on the street, that hopefully the child doesn't run up because a dog's a dog, and you never know. So all you parents out there, lesson number 1 is to make sure that you explain to your children that you always ask permission before you pet.
Yes.
Yes. And in this case, there's no petting.
Yes.
Yeah. So, you know, I'm kind of curious as the wellness director here.
Mm-hmm.
We talked a little bit about like that Pofi stays in his condition. So what does Pofi eat? Is he on like a
so Pofi, he's on
high fiber,
he's on a special
high protein?
Yeah, he's on a special diet with Biome, which is a gastrointestinal dog food. So because his handler first had him, they had problems with trying to figure out what food was good for him. So he's actually on a special diet. And all our dogs, some of them have different dog foods for different things, but it keeps them good and lean. And you know, when you just like having any pet, you have to monitor him. You have to see what's going in and what's coming out. So so yeah, that's pretty much his diet. He stays around 84 pounds.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So he stays right around 84. He's on like a specific nutritional plan. Right. I love it.
And he gets a
Does he get treats?
He thinks it's a treat, but it's a treat that he gets every day that helps clean his teeth.
Oh, okay. Yep. So okay, great. Yep. Does he ever get any other special like dog bones?
No, he has his favorite. It's a brand called a Kong, and his Kong. It looks like a bone. He's very toy driven, so he loves his toy, and he has some little treats that I give him every now and then.
Okay,
but no pup cups at Starbucks for him.
I love it. I love it. So you know, he lives in his crate. Is that inside or outside? So there's never anywhere he's on the sofa in your house.
No, because then he'll get too comfortable, and then he'll think, oh, I don't have a job.
Yeah.
No, he has I call it. It looks like a little she shed, but it's but it's a kennel. He has his own little house.
I love it.
Yeah.
Does it have AC and heat?
I have it set up to where in the wintertime, he's from Hungary, so they love when it was snowing, when we had our snow, and when he got out, he was rolling all in the snow.
Yeah.
But when it's hot, I make sure like I have like a multiple fans going for him, especially when it gets hot. And then if it gets to a certain amount of heat, then I have a kennel, a crate that I can bring him inside. But so yeah, but for the most part, when we were on third watch, he was in the truck doing the heat. So
oh wow,
yeah.
So basically, if he's not working, he's in his she shed.
Yeah, he's in. I just tell everybody like what I said. It looks like a little house. It looks like a little house.
I love it. That's awesome. Yeah. Well, what happens like retirement? Let's talk a little bit about retirement. Like, what's the average work span for
the average work span for the average work span for a dog can be like 7 to 9 years.
Okay.
And once that happens, they get retired, and they give the handler an option to take responsibility of the dog, and once that, then they get to just be a dog and just be free.
Okay.
Yeah.
So once Pofi then retires, then is that something that you'll be able to then adopt?
Yeah, I will be.
You'll adopt him?
And I have to. I told my wife, I said, "Oh, we got to get some more yard because
already planning.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah, having two dogs. I know some of the some of the other guys, they got their retired dog. Retired dog gets to run around all the yard, and the other one has to stay in his kennel because if you let them be out just running around when it's time to go work, then they'll be tired. So that's one reason why. Right. Yeah, that you got that energy, even it's pent up energy. That's why when we get ready to go to work, we do things to get all that energy out because they got a lot of energy, and then they love to work and play.
Wow. Well, I just have one last question, and this is just the word out on the street has it that there are no female dogs
on our
yes, in the unit or with the Dallas
and we don't.
Police Department.
And
Come on, no females. What's going on?
And it's just what the it's just what the when the trainers when they go look at dogs, it's just what they end up choosing. There is not a reason that a male dog and a female dog, they both can do the same thing. So it's not a reason. But I'm gonna tell you this, that the female dogs reproduce. So to be honest, if a breeder, if they were gonna keep the dogs and they know they have a good a line, they're gonna keep their lineage. They're gonna keep their female dogs. So, and that's kind of what the reason is. Because when I talk to different breeders, I don't know if they can keep they're not they're gonna keep their female dogs. So, oh well, that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. But I still think that there needs to be
there's some that's out there. Yeah, there's some
on
out
the
there.
force.
Yeah.
What do you guys think? Well, oh my gosh, thank you guys so much, welcome. The two of you, for coming on today. And you guys at home, remember, when you wake up, get wealthy, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.